already got a monster energy. Hello and welcome to Primetime Pastimes, a podcast where we speak to people in the wrestling space about their passions outside of wrestling. I'm one of your hosts, Steve, and with me as always is our other host, Gav. Say hello, Gav.
Hello.
Well, some people will try and troll you, and we all know imping ain't easy, and awesomeness is in the eye of the beholder. Our next guest is the life of the party. Happy to roll with it, so the night doesn't drag on. A real rogue who would love to give you the B20. It's the bear, Erik Nite. How you doing, Erik?
That was a good one.
The beholder line got me the most.
Kudos to that one.
Hello, how are we all doing?
Not bad.
Somewhat okay.
Somewhat.
Already have tears rolling down the face, so that's a good start.
Always a sign of a good night.
That was like the bukkake of puns. That was just everything at once.
Is that a book, Aki? Is that one of the?
Yeah.
Okay. We're not talking about a topic quite yet, but good to know that Aki is a book that we can all look at. Right. So before we get into our topic, Erik, let's talk about your experiences with professional wrestling for about 10 minutes. So tell us what you do in pro wrestling, when you first got into it, and what your influences were.
Okay. So I am, I suppose, a wrestler. There's one way you can describe me. Other ways, just that nuisance that appears in the ring every so often. I got into wrestling myself just before COVID, but it was 2 weeks, so it's not really much to count. So just after. So I forget when that was. It's either 5 or 6 years now. Train up there. I was on shows in 2023, 2022. And from there, I'm continuing to do them and loving every minute of it. I've done not just the wrestling, I've done commentary, tried to do reffing, and hats off to you, Steve, because my God, that's knackering. I don't know how you do it. So I can't count, to be honest with you. That's probably the main reason.
Well, you're someone who can be counted on for being a professional wrestler. That's what I like about you. So tell us when was the first time that you saw professional wrestling on TV or another medium, and what made you think, oh, I like this?
I watched it ever since I can remember. My uncle was a massive fan when I was growing up, so he sort of got me watching it. The first real memory I've got was at watching the build-up towards WrestleMania 25, and that was my first ever WrestleMania from there, and it's sort of like, that's, in my head, where I started. So I got to see Hardys versus Hardys, the amazing 5-star match of Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and I think that got me hooked from the get-go, so can't say that I missed much from there. I fell in and out of love with it, and then, just continue to love it since.
So when you first watched WrestleMania 25, right all the way up to the year 2000, before you decided to get into it, you say you fell off a little bit. Have you gone back and looked at older stuff? And did your research go into overdrive when you actually decided this wrestling thing is for me and I'm going to give it a try?
My research into non-WWE product did. Mm-hmm. When I started to get back into it again, AEW was on the up. So I started watching a lot of that stuff and seeing this sort of, best described to me anyways, the American indie style of big moves, big moments, letting it all digest and doing some more. So I really enjoyed watching that, which then made me go, I remember watching bits of that back in the day from TNA. So I started going back and watching stuff like that, which one of my biggest influences is Samoa Joe. And watching any of his stuff because I think he's possibly one of the best to do it.
Is that where you get your Uranagi from?
He can't. Yeah. There's no idea. Big man doing a big jump with a kick. You got to love it. And I always think he's phenomenal. He's always one of the guys that came in and looked the part, and was always surprised by what he could do. I've lost my train of thought now. I'm not gonna lie.
So you've been watching TNA. You've
Yeah.
got influenced by the Samoan named Joe. Any other influences that you've had from TNA or anyone else really that's owned your craft or helped you own your craft?
I would, when it came to doing more big man things, I always looked towards the three best in my head. So that's The Undertaker, Kane, and The Big Show. I think those three captivated what it needed to be. When it comes to how to carry yourself and promo wise, I always look to The Rock, who I think is the best all around wrestler of all time, which I imagine a lot of people might disagree with, but I can't think of anyone who could do everything the way he did. And still does, in my opinion, even though he's part-time. He still comes in and steals the show. Yeah, and then they're my main influences, definitely. But then I've also got on to do more research into like the documentary side of things for wrestling, because I find hearing the stories behind the characters quite good, and I've really got into watching stuff with Jake the Snake at the minute and how he carried himself. And I think that the promos from him are beyond amazing, and no one captivates you quite like he did.
Well, yeah, we have said that on our sister podcast, Educating Lauren, quite a lot, that we've got a lot of props to give to Jake the Snake Roberts for his promo, one of the best in the business. I can't say I've seen the influence of Jake the Snake Roberts on you. I can definitely see The Rock on your promo, but not necessarily Jake the Snake. But I've not seen a hell of a lot of your heel promos. What was it like transitioning from a good guy wrestler to a despised, slimy heel person?
A breath of fresh air. I did face for 2 or 3 years. Only really did that, and as much as I enjoyed doing it and don't regret ever doing it, it was in a way quite restricting because of the character I was playing, and I wanted to broaden my horizon a bit. So when I got to switch it up, I could do more I thought a lot more in ring and be able to tell a better story, being at the time more traditional big man, and now also I can be more sort of ruthless in my actions and try and portray a bit more anger, as opposed to, especially at the start when I was Moonbear, was more of a didn't really know what I was doing but stumbled my way through a match kind of thing, where I get to be more of a fighter now. She's quite more enjoyable.
You're in the top 2 scariest moments of my wrestling life so far. Number 1, Jimmy Jackson. Everyone who knows. And watching you charge at me in a 14-foot ring for a corner splash scared me to fucking death.
I'm quicker now, so. And
you've lost a lot of weight, and I wonder if you're bonier as well. That's what, because I've taken a few corner splashes from you.
Just a handful, Stu. Yeah, it always seemed to have happened at the start.
Yeah.
Well, I've been told that I don't know how to stop quite as easily now, so I sort of just gone for it. But also, PCW's got a 20-foot training ring, so trying to figure out when to slow down became a bit of an issue. So,
I love those 20-foot rings. You are the Pringles of professional wrestling. Once you run, you can't stop. I don't know what I'm talking about there.
I know.
maybe you're saltier. I don't know. So, do you, in this new character of the Bear, Erik Nite, do you see yourself returning to a good guy role in the future, or do you think this character lends itself to be a nasty baddie and there's no going back to being all smiles?
I think with this character, I can definitely do both a lot easier than I would have done previously, because there can be layers and dimensions to it. I don't always, I don't try and cheat that often when it comes to doing things. I bend the rules, but I'm not that sort of slimy heel. That makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And I was sort of setting you up for that because I've
Well,
seen you work as a good guy in the ring in front of I don't know, 60 or 70 kids at an outdoor thing a few weeks back, a few months back, and you did really well, and everyone bought into it. So yeah, that was a bit of a leading question, if I'm being completely honest.
We always go, no, I could never be faced again. As I came out and was like, yeah.
So talk to us about the fact that you're in a faction at the moment and what that means to you as a performer.
So I'm in the House of Stone. There are 6 of us at the minute, which seems to be increasing because it was when I joined there was 3, and yeah, in a matter of not even a year, it's doubled. We're basically the cult of the wrestling led by our not prodigy. That'd be the young
protege. There we go.
No.
What's the
No. It's definitely not progeny because that's
deity. We'll call him a deity.
Hey, okay. Oh God.
Yeah.
Right,
Chris Stone. So
sorry, disembodied voice of Lauren. What you saying?
Was it Prodigal Son you were trying to think of?
No, I think that's Reese. He's the prodigal son. I'm the nuisance that sort of tagged along.
There's so many of you now. I went and bought a kind of energy drink earlier, and I'm 90% sure he was part of the House of Stone as well. So, he was wearing green, so probably. So many of you.
So I joined them. I came from another faction in the Children of the Moon first, but due to a lot of like scheduling and things like that, we didn't get to work with each other sadly that often. But where with Chris and Reese and the others, I'm saying that vaguely because we're slowly sort of announcing everybody. I have a lot of fun. I really enjoy tag wrestling, so that helps because there's a multitude of tag partners that I've got now, and we're all at the end of it, even like away from wrestling, we're all friends, and that's the main thing. Wrestling's great, love it to pieces, but the main thing that I'm loving at the minute is be able to do this with my friends and just have great memories with them.
Well, Erik Nite, a man that loves to do it with multiple partners. It's lovely to hear from you. We'll move on to our topic now. Whether you roll the dice, you're a little dice curious, or if you're just do or dice, you won't have to slide into the DMs of your local DM because today's topic is all about Dungeons and Dragons.
Have you got these saved?
Yes.
Right. These are just off the dome, and that would have been fascinating.
I prep for these things, so I hope you enjoyed that. So here's the big one. So BTW, just as an FYI, ASAP. Before we give you the 411, consider the FAQs and do a bit of Q&A on what's been AWOL so far. OMG, YOLO, here are some facts on D&D. Created in 1974 by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, evolved from a tabletop naval warfare game with miniatures to a total roleplay experience with total narrative freedom, was initially released as an expansion pack for the game Chainmail. D&D pioneered the use of polyhedral dice. To date, almost 50 million people have played. Some of the first people to test the game were Gygax's own children. The longest running game has been 46 years and counting. Started with 4 players thanks to Zoom. The number is now upwards of 60. The largest game in history featured over 1,227 players. D&D is banned in many US prisons, and in some, whilst the game isn't banned itself, the dice are, meaning inmates have to get creative, such as making their own dice out of toothpaste. Over 2,000 monsters are in existence. The most killable creature is the rat, with 1 hit point and 10 AC, whilst other creatures have 1 hit point, such as scorpions, seahorses, owls, and frogs have 11 AC. There is no upper limit on how big a mimic can get. Same. So, that's enough facts. Let's explore our feelings. Eric, when did you first become aware of Dungeons and Dragons?
I started playing a version of Dungeons and Dragons when I was 15. So only 5 years ago, definitely. Yeah, played it basically since then. I had like maybe a year out from that, so I must have been playing it for easily a decade overall.
You say you were playing a version of it. What do you mean by that coy remark?
So my friend who introduced me to it, his entire family played it. That's how they bonded as a family, and I think that's phenomenal. That's sort of life goals for me. I'm not going to lie. They played a game called Pathfinder.
Okay.
Which, from what I remember him saying, so there's been editions of D&D throughout the years. So the people that made it that you just spoke about then, they came, I think it was to 3rd edition, and then they parted ways from, I believe it was Wizards of the Coast, who now own D&D, to make Pathfinder, which is more in line with traditional D&D, and is, in my opinion, a lot harder to play. But there's a lot more scope to it, and you can do a lot more options and things like that. I don't play that as much anymore. I play 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which is, I think it's the second to most recent edition. I'm pretty sure D&D 1 came out recently.
Yeah, very recently. Was it the end of 2024 maybe? Or yeah, that wrong?
Yeah. Me and my friends are looking into it, and I've gone, I'm not going to lie, I've spent enough time researching 5e, and I'm trying to understand that I'm not going to learn another engine. I will stick to this for now, and we'll go from there.
You've said a lot of words there. You've said the word engine. You've talked about many different things that the novice of us won't understand. I want to just circle back to the fact you said this Pathfinder game gave you more scope. What do you mean by that, considering that Dungeons and Dragons is, the premise of it is your imagination? What do you mean by the scope of it?
So, from what I can describe it as in my head anyway, so there's more, when it comes to D&D, everything's very much by a certain dice roll and things like that, and adding some modifiers on. Was when it came to Pathfinder, there's a lot more modifiers to add on. You don't always have to do a roll. It usually just goes off a base sometimes. And from what we were playing, there was a lot of options when it came to your classes and races. Because my friend who introduced me to it had such a wide array of source materials to go off, including a lot of homebrew creations and things like that. So for me, with my experience, there was not just a little bit of creativity you could do with it. There was so much that I've gone. There was a lot of options. When it came to 5e, because I started with that one, I had to relearn a lot of it. So it was my own development from there. And now there is probably as many options with that as there was in Pathfinder.
Yeah, I know these new rules are sort of, they're expanding certain things, but then they're also making a lot of things more vague, I believe. I think that's one of the criticisms, especially the character build sheets. But we'll get into that in a few moments. You mentioned homebrew. Explain what that means.
So homebrew can be many things. So it's basically your own imagination that you've took over. You can make your own spells. You can make your own classes, your own races, depending if they don't already exist or you can't find one. There's entire forums on Reddit and things like that making homebrew characters. One of them, which I had played in Pathfinder, was called the Old Spice Gentleman as a class, which is probably one of my most favourite things ever to play, because he had a skill called I'll Take a Bullet for You, Man, which is someone makes a ranged attack that you can see, you literally jump in front of. It doesn't matter how far away you are, as long as it's in sight, you can take the hit for your teammate. And I believe once you get to the highest level in that, you become a being of pure gentlemanly energy and basically live in the sky and bomb people.
Well, other than the last part, that's the dream, isn't it? You don't want to bomb people.
I'm pretty sure you could turn into like a werewolf and all sorts with that class. It's mental. I highly recommend reading it.
So I did multiple. Go on, Gab, sorry.
I did it wasn't homebrew, but the Ninja Turtles did a role-playing Dungeons and Dragons game where you had your own mutant, so you had to roll to see what animal you got. And I think I remember getting a parrot, and I was so upset. Yeah, I was a mutated parrot. one of my mates got a tiger, the other one got a lion, and I'm like, I'm a parrot. But yeah,
I love the idea that the parrot might be the one animal that wouldn't talk when it's mutated. Like it's the one that's been thrown off.
Yeah.
Something beautifully haunting about that. So there's lots of were characters, isn't there? Some of them, you have to have consent, which is lovely in this day and age. Others, you don't. Yeah, I mean, this leads me into sort of what you would prefer as your character build. So tell us about what you prefer to play as, who you prefer to play as, and what goes into that character. And then tell us about characters you've played in the past and which have been your favourites.
Most certainly. So my first ever character was a cleric that I called Murdom.
Works in an office, right?
That's clerk, isn't it?
Okay, fine. Sorry.
Yeah. This was an alcoholic cleric who basically got pissed off the communion wine a lot and just didn't really know where he was. So I played him for a bit. I'm pretty sure he faded into nothingness. I then played an anti-paladin, which I quite enjoyed. I still don't know actually what I did with it. Pretty sure, he died. A lot of characters die in D&D. Then I played when I got to 5th edition, I made a character which made me fall in love with the class of warlocks, because I am a metal boy. Apparently, that's one of the ways that you just can tell someone who likes heavy music and enjoys D&D. You usually go with a warlock or a rogue, and I love playing both, which makes me feel like the biggest stereotype of all time.
Stereotypes for a reason, though, aren't they? Usually,
it happened accidentally as well. I was like, "Oh, warlock sounds cool." Played that, and he was called Darwin. He was part of a cult, and his whole thing is he wanted to have sexual relations with his god. Which he didn't get to achieve in the end, but he had a whole list of things that he wanted to have sexual relations with, because that's all that mattered to him.
So let's do a deep dive into this for a moment. So was this prompted by the dungeon master, or was this just something that you thought this will be funny?
This was me being 19 at the time and thinking that was absolutely hilarious.
Okay, yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah. You say that you're sort of the metal person, and that should have been obvious. But you've mentioned 4 different types of class there. They're all very, very different. So I don't think it's that generic and that obvious. But who are you playing with currently? Have you got a game going currently?
I do, yes. And you've said that, and I can't remember my character, and that's quite embarrassing. I'm playing a ranger at the minute, which hurts me because that's the one class I can't stand because I think they're terrible. But I said jokingly, let me roll for my class, because there's 12 base classes. You just get a D12 and roll that. And the one I got was ranger, and I was mortified. And my friend who did the same got a warlock.
Was it anyone I know?
No, I don't think it is, sadly. And then I've got another character at the minute who is I can't remember the class off the top of my head, which is going to annoy me, but I know he's a robot.
Okay. That surprises me. I didn't know robots were a thing in ye old D&D.
Yeah, they're called Warforged, so they're basically like arcane robots.
Okay.
So I'm playing this as like, have you watched Invincible?
Yes.
You know Robot in that and how he talks, and he's very just sort of monotone.
I do.
So he speaks like that. He's just like, yep, this is happening. And he's adopted friends with the rogue of the party who's a tabaxi, which is a cat.
Okay.
Or cat people. And he's called Kibble. And every time he tries to rob somewhere, he goes, yes, Kibble! And he just keeps like trying his best to be a distraction, but doesn't understand he's actually causing more people to look at Kibble doing what he's doing. We successfully robbed a house. We don't know how we did it, because at one point I jumped through a window like the Ralph Wiggum meme to cause a distraction for Kibble, and it worked. The guy wasn't very happy I jumped through his window, though. When it comes to D&D, I play some very strange characters. I'm not going to lie to you, Steve.
Why wouldn't you? When you've got this fantasy world where you can be anything practically and you can do anything practically, why wouldn't you go to the extreme? If I ever had a game of Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not going to be a bloody sexless monk who's into authority. I mean, that's my day job.
Yeah, I fully agree. Every character I played has essentially been a comedy character in one way or another. Like one of my other favorite things I've ever done is my character called I call him Johnny Lucy. Have you ever heard of the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia"?
But I'm going to say no, so you have to sing it.
I don't want to do the accent more than else, to be honest with you.
Just do it. Do the accent. You've already said it now. Everyone's going to watch this. They're going to call you a coward in the street.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool, fine.
I'm a heel for a reason.
Okay, fine.
So that my entire character I based off that one song.
Okay.
I made him into a bard that had a blood feud with the devil because he beat him in a viola battle. But with that, because he was from the deep south, he had a very thick redneck accent, and just. I didn't roll very well for the intelligence, so he was beyond thick and only knew how to play the viola, basically. And yeah, he had a spell because there was chickens in the video, so I said he came from a chicken farm. I said he had a distraction spell called Screaming Cock, where a chicken head appeared and yelled at the top of his lungs.
That's the only thing that could have meant.
Yeah, there's nothing provocative here.
No.
Family friendly.
Family friendly. What's the longest game you've had, or are you currently having it? What's going on?
Well, I said I started when I was 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, that campaign went on till I think 2019, which was how many years? It went on for something like 6 years.
Right.
And I had something like 4 characters in that way. I stopped speaking to these people for a long time just out of the fact we were getting older and things like that. And then it came back to it, and we managed to finish it in a 12-hour D&D session. I left the house at 6 o'clock at night and arrived back at 6 in the morning. My lovely wife said to me, "Have you been on a night out?" And I went, "No, I played D&D," to which she looked at me with a look of disgust and what have I been with for so many years. And she went, "What did you get up to?" And I had a Dominoes, and I can't remember the rest of it.
If you had a D&D and then a Dominoes, that's a D&D.
That's a lot of Ds.
It is. But one less because the wife wasn't speaking to you. So we've got very rude on this episode. I do apologise. What was that? Let's take it more wholesome. Obviously, these were your friends growing up. What was that last game like with your friends?
It was strangely emotional.
Yeah.
Because I had a character that I didn't even play for years that somehow survived the entire way through, just as like a side character. But they went, "Oh yeah, he's still going." I was like, "Is he? Bloody hell!" So I try and play him along with, which was actually quite a serious one for me because he didn't really talk much. And then I have my, ironically, the Old Spice gentleman character who managed to make it to the end, and they both didn't make it to the final moments,
right?
But they were there for the final battle, and in that. It was quite a weird feeling of going, we're near the end. And for someone like me who played it for so long, I just went, it feels like the end of a chapter in my life. The fact this is actually going to conclude. And I'm looking at friends that I've seen, like I said, for years, and we've grown up with each other from the age of like 13. I'm going, we've done this as a unit, and it felt really sort of brotherly in a way, and we've achieved it.
It must be quite raw as well, because I mean, we are very fortunate in the world of wrestling that we get to share kind of our emotions and something very raw inside us as performers on there, and we're getting to share sort of an artistic version of ourselves, and that's very much the same in D&D as well, I imagine. So you not only have you spent time with these people, but you've opened up to these people via your character. So I imagine it's very, very emotional.
Yeah, I'd say that every character you play has got to at least have a little bit of yourself. It's like with wrestling, they say the best gimmick is where it's you times 11.
Yeah,
I'd say that happens a lot with D&D and anything creative. Like to make it unique to you, you have to be you, and essentially, most of my characters have been terrible people that I would never want to meet in the street. But I can go, well, yeah, I'd probably make that stupid decision somewhere down the line, or I'd find this funny, so he's going to do it. And I think it blends into itself. You become part of you, where you can get lost in it otherwise, or else you're not playing. You're playing the game as opposed to just being in the moment and enjoying what you're doing, kind of thing. Which is
that 100%.
It's just escapism.
And do you still see those people?
Not as much as I'd like to. I keep trying to reconnect with one of them mainly, who was the person who got me into it. Sadly, he lives in Warrington now.
I'm sorry for them.
Yeah, well, he's hoping to move back to my lovely hometown of Chorley. Big up. When he does, that would be brilliant. He's one of them people who's terrible at replying, and he'll admit that till he's blue in the face. And with wrestling, I'm a very busy man on top of everything else. He's got 2 kids. I can understand, sadly we're not 15 years old anymore and have all the free time in the world. But yeah, he's always there if I need him. I'm always there if he needs me. Just one of them sad times of being an adult, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And obviously you still play. How has playing the game changed? Do you do it over Zoom? Do you do it over any other sort of modern medium, or is it still a case of go to people's houses and order Dominoes?
There's sadly no longer the order in the Dominoes bit. That is just a part that's gone. Not just because it's really expensive, but trying to be good these days, Steve.
I understand.
Yeah.
I do.
But I'm a big thing of, it's originally a paper game, you having your character sheets and things like that. So I like playing it in person. During COVID, actually, I found when we talk about like the mental health side of things, or a lot of things, D&D was taken away from me. Before I had wrestling, I had D&D, and that was taken. We tried doing it online and things like that, but it just never felt the same. It's too easily distracting for me, and the big thing for me is the social aspect. It's saying like what I said with wrestling earlier. It's not just getting to this thing I love. I get to do it with my friends and make the memories with them while doing it. And yeah, I'm a big believer of, if you get everyone together, you have the best experience, as opposed to doing it over Discord like we did. Don't get me wrong, technology is great for D&D because you can make everything on there, but then to actually do it, it's better to have that physical medium, I find.
No, I get that 100%, and I'm glad that you still get out there and get those little experiences. How do you deal with people that
in general
bring them? Yeah, no, wait for it. that bring a main character energy to what is a group game. Do you know what I mean?
As someone who does bring main character energy to the group game,
I find all about the tag team now, aren't you?
That's true. I'm getting better at it. Wrestling's making me a slightly better and worse person at the same time. Yeah. When it comes to that sort of thing, I sort of think of it when I play like a TV show. Every character has their own episode to establish themselves or to develop their story, and I think that's always a great way. When I've DM'd before, I try and lean certain sessions towards certain characters and what storylines we can go down to then create this overarching story where each individual person gets to develop. And that way you can sit there and go, oh, that's a great idea. And you might want to do that when you play another campaign, or you go, okay, I quite enjoy their story, so I'm going to lean into it and try and possibly weave myself with it. And you can do that from a character point of view, or just as a player, where you can watch it that way, or your character can go, I generally have concern because of their storyline, so I'm going to get involved a bit in the way a friend would. or a colleague in some respects. Does
Very
that make sense?
No, it makes 100% sense. All the sense in the world. When obviously you mentioned you've been a DM/dungeon master, how do you deal with dungeon masters who are stupidly vague and don't control the environment as much as you'd like? And on the flip side of that, how do you deal with people that are micromanaging every element?
As a player, as a dungeon master,
I would say as a player, because I would like to think you would be balanced, because I know you. But yeah, and I also understand that others may not be quite as balanced.
that's very true. So when it comes to someone being very relaxed and things like that, sometimes I prefer that, because then you can, as a player, weave your story. Obviously, if they just don't care at all, then they're just not good and don't want to be DM, basically. I have had a few where they've micromanaged it a bit, and the way you get around that is doing what I'm good at, is derailing it very, very quickly, so they can't have the chance to micromanage, and it either makes them extremely frustrated, or they just go, right, okay, you win, and let you carry on whatever you were doing. But to be honest, I've had a few dungeon masters, and the ones I've had have all been amazing and just great at letting you be you. Probably one of the best ones I've had was the friend that I started with. His dad did our first ever session, and he was very much sat back and let you just sort of watch what we were doing, but kept us on the straight and narrow because we were 15 and stupid and didn't quite understand what the game was. We just thought it was essentially like GTA but with swords. We were very wrong. And then my friend took over as DM from there, and you saw the influence that he knew exactly what to do and how to let us still have fun but keep us on track, so that kind of thing. And my friend who DMs now is one of the, just a great storyteller, and he is fun to wind up, though, I must say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, explain how you would do that.
So the bard I was talking about earlier, who was based on the Devil Went Down to Georgia, I managed to somehow get all the spells and made him do wisdom saving throws throughout the entire campaign, and every time he brought a monster in, he didn't check the wisdom and constantly just kept getting possessed and all sorts by me. I also had a habit of doing stupid things throughout this series because I had no social recall whatsoever as a character, and just kept trying to perform for the people. And then every time that I lost any sort of battle of performance, I had a bit of a crash out and started yelling very obscene things towards crowds, which involved a lot of
some people's performance isn't what it used to be.
I was a theatre kid, you know what I mean? There's a lot of truth in my little crash out. So what do you mean that I can't do this? I did a great job at Les Mis. Like, shut up, and just walked away. You know, Jean Valjean.
Well, all you'll get with that, pal, is empty chairs and empty tables. So you don't want to be doing stuff like that. Let's talk about the rule book. Do you adhere to the rules, or do you like to just sort of play it by ear and have a looser game experience?
I'm a not on rails kind of DM and player. I have played it where we've used books as source material. I have done it where we've only ever stuck to the book, which is fine by me. I'm happy to do it that way. For a lot of people, I understand why they do it. It's a lot easier because you don't have to go away and plan that much. But when I was a DM, I like to be creative and make my own story. So with that, I'm going to have to go off the source material a bit because it's still D&D at the end of the day. But I can make every little detail my own, and which is what I enjoy doing and building this the worldscape essentially.
What's more important, the worldscape or the character?
Oh, the character, definitely the character. If you do the world building well enough, I think it becomes its own character. Okay. Just by making your own lore and establishing what it's around. Like, say, Lord of the Rings would be nothing without. So I don't say the Temple of Doom, though. I don't know why. Mordor and understanding the Shire and things like that, you get that grandeur to it. And I think that adds so much to it. Like Game of Thrones is boring without Westeros.
Yeah,
it's just a big wall in it.
So obviously you get people that are main character energy. You get people who like you say, are Shire. How do you, well, as a dungeon master, how do you help bring their character out? How do you help guide them? Do you use in-depth character sheets? Because I know sometimes people don't really adhere to that either.
I think it all depends on, for one, how your character's rolled out. So if you are this overly charismatic character, then your character sheet should reflect that. If you're, say you've got a -2 to charisma while you're talking the entire way through, and if you are, then you shouldn't be saying things that are going to actually get you out of trouble. It's usually going to get you in it. And the flip side to that, if you are not the intelligent one, don't be making the decisions. You should be the person that they should go to make the wrong decision or to entice. I think if you play it that way, then you're structuring and you've got your baseline from there. When it comes to Shire people, which now makes me think of hobbits, playing D&D, stick to classes that wouldn't necessarily need you to talk. So like your monks and things like that. But also just remember it's not you being you, it's you being this character. Think how the character reacts and not you. Be diplomatic or just be that person in the corner. That's the greatest thing about D&D. You can be whatever you want to be. And that's the only way I can describe it. As a DM, to bring that any sort of emotion out of somebody, I think you're going to have to do what I said earlier, which is make a session based around that character or giving them a story arc. So that way the person can be involved enough to bring that out of them.
How do you level up your characters? And just give us a basic character sort of overview for anyone that has never sort of played this, because it all sounds very well in theory, but what are the limitations and talk to us about that.
Do you want me to go through like making a character then?
Sure.
Right. Okay. So you've got two main decisions you have to make at the start, which is your race and your class, and usually you want to go hand in hand, but it really doesn't matter to a degree. Every race has its own advantages. Every class has its own play style, essentially. There's many races that I am not going to go through all of them because I don't even remember half of them. Right. But people know what elves are. There's 3 different types of elves from there. I think there's even more now, to be honest with you. And you can either be a posh elf, a hippie elf, or like an emo elf, essentially, is what I would call them.
Wow.
What did you just say, Gav? Did you just yell at him?
Drow, which is a dark elf.
Yes, I thought I first said wow. I was like, yes, they are emo elves.
Yeah, that's what I used to like, being drows. So
yeah, drows are great, and I love the fact they don't like sunlight. They have to stay away from everything.
Like, full on goth.
Yeah.
I'd be more into elf and safety. Anyway, carry on.
Great tag team. So you choose your race from there. If you want to be all gothy, then you're going straight for the drows. If you want to be a bit more like Satan, you can go for a bit of tiefling, which is like demon people. But also, if you want to be a hobbit, then you go and pick a halfling because they're small and like to sing. And then you pick your play style, which is probably the most fun bit, which is going to be your class. There's 12 main ones, and I believe there's 2 off the top of my head that are like additions, being alchemists and blood hunters, that are official material but not core, if that makes sense. Like to one side.
Weirdly, that does make sense, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so say if you wanted to be an angry thing that smacks stuff because you're that angry, then you want to be a barbarian, and that's what they do. One of their abilities is literally a case of you're so angry that you're immune. You're resilient to everything, which I find hilarious. You're just so pissed off that your muscles help you through life.
And I know people like that.
Oh, there's a few.
Definitely. Alternatively, if you want to be like a complete nerd, you're a wizard who just sits there reading, and you're so smart that you can read. And then, so there's different sort of levels when it comes to your different classes. And the way I think of it is you've got your spellcasters, which is your wizards, your sorcerers, and then you've got your melee fighters, like your barbarians, your paladins, who can also cast spells, and then you've got your support, which do things like healing. When you're a bard, you can inspire people to do better damage, or do what I did and be a knob to your DM and keep making them do saving throws.
Which is inspiring in a different way, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of times we went on stealth missions now I weren't allowed to go because I was too busy pissing off the DM.
Maybe not that good then.
But yeah, so you choose them, and they all have different subclasses within that, which if I was going to sit here and chat about this, I could do it all day, which, probably best not to.
No.
From there, each class sort of fades into each other from that.
Uh-huh.
But when you talk about leveling up, your maximum level for any class is 20.
Mm-hmm.
And from that is you basically become the purest form of that class, I would say. So, for example, Rogue, when you get to level 20, you are basically like touchable, and you can make something into a natural 20, if I remember correctly, which means you're an instant critical, and yeah, you're winning a load of fights otherwise. You just get to be the peak form of that character. It's hard to describe D&D without getting someone sat here and going, yeah, this is what you do from this point, and then work that way. I must say.
I think you're doing a great job, Eric. I think it's probably selling the idea of D&D to people that may not have considered it. So no, I think you're doing a great job on that. So outside of the core game, obviously there are video games, there are motion pictures. Talk to us about your experiences with them, including the books, which are obviously very, very important to the lore.
Yeah. So when it comes to the books themselves, give them a read. There's some fascinating stories there. So you got like your core books, like your player's handbook and things like that, tells you the backstories on certain races. But then you've got things like Xanathar's Guides to Everything, which gives you more options in subclasses, but then tells you about this amazing beholder called Xanathar who likes to collect things, whose best mate's a fish. And that's the fascinating world of D&D, where that's just a thing that happens, where you get a guy who loves fish.
So tell us what the hell, what the halibut is. The halibut? I don't know. I'm trying to make it.
Pretty sure it's a little goldfish.
Oh, so it forgets pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, the beholder definitely doesn't. No, they're quite good at that. And when it comes to the motion picture side of things, I remember watching the recent film that came out, and I can't remember the full title, but it's a Dungeons & Dragons film, and that is hilarious. And
the one with Chris Pine and everyone. Yeah, great film.
It's a great film. I'd highly recommend anyone watch that. I've not watched the classic one from back in the day.
Oh, it's so bad.
I've been told it's awful.
Yeah, I'm watching Princess Bride. Really, that's way better.
I'll be
honest with you.
Recently, that was a film that I feel like I should have watched years ago.
Yeah,
I feel like anyone's day can be brightened by watching A Princess Bride, one of the best films of all time for what it is. What about the cartoon? Did you ever watch the 1980s cartoon? I know this is more mine and Gav's era, but
that's what I remember most. That's where I got the names of a lot of the characters. Really? Originally, Tiamat is actually a genuine character. Avenger, genuine character.
I can't say that I've watched the cartoon. Is it worth a go?
Honestly, it is. The only thing I would say is...
But they never finished it, which is...
That's exactly what I was going to say. However, there are things online that tell you the end to it. There's a... Nostalgia 411, I think it's called, which is a great little YouTube
Is it a legit finish or is it a fan finish?
No, it's a legit finish. It's
right.
This YouTube place, I think it's called Nostalgia 411. It tells you all about the toys and the cartoons from the 80s, the golden age of deregulation in the cartoon, and it tells you how it was going to end, and it was going to end by the big bad being the sorcerer's son, and it was all about his redemption story.
Right.
Anyway, spoilers for 1985's Dungeons.
I mean, the other big.
To be honest, I probably will end up watching it now. So
it's great.
People collect the dice more than anything else. They just
A
have
lot of dice collectors.
bags of dice.
Don't. It's this problem.
Go on. How many dice? Is it dice or die?
Die singular, but
Yes, it's one die.
I'm definitely going to die single. Gav.
There you
go. I would say a fair bit. My friends have a ridiculous amount. Thing is, when we've been to like Comic Cons, you go in and you go, oh, they're pretty.
Yeah.
And then you start going, oh, I want them ones now. And then you start buying bundles online, and all of a sudden you just go, I've got a lot of dice I don't know what to do with.
Well, I ended up going with Aaron. My lad just likes the dice, so we went to Famicom.
Yeah.
Some of the prices for the dice, and you get them on Temu for about £4. The same one.
It's not the same, Gav. It's don't get me started with this, right? So you get your metal dice.
Yeah.
They're top notch. However, if you drop a D4, that's you're going to stand on it, and it's going to really hurt.
Yeah.
Sounded so gangster. Don't be dropping a D4, Gav.
At the minute, so I did a Comic Con show in Wales with PCW, and they had they're called revolver dice. They got little bullets, and it goes in like a revolver set. They were about, I think it was 80 to 100 quid.
Right.
And I'm sat there going, I'm very stingy with money, like to the point where it's probably not great. But I was debating, and I actually had someone in a rest hold, and I still had the dice in my mind, going, I've got that, and it's spare money, but she'll kill me if I come home with some dice. But I was very tempted, but they are very pretty dice. And there's always something you go, that's nice, but that'd go better with this one. And you make your own little bespoke set. Also,
if you roll bad with them, you just throw them away, don't you? And then just
my mate's actually got a dice jail that he puts them in.
Right, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, which is great because when he's a player, he rolls terribly. When he's a DM, he rolls really well for the attack, but the damage is always terrible. So you basically get hit a lot and then never actually die. It's phenomenal.
Relatable.
Yeah,
no. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you if you had anything else Dungeons and Dragons related that you collected other than dice.
The books is the main thing. I like to have all the material I possibly can when making a character, because the more options you got, the more avenues you can go down, the more combinations you can do. I had some like flash player cards for the spells and things like that to rifle through quickly. But I've got friends who are a lot more tech savvy than I'll ever be, because, to be honest, they're set up Zoom. And so they have actually made some software that we can go through that we can like understand spells and things a lot quicker and maintain it that way. Because they're, in my mind, geniuses, and I can barely turn a computer on. But, I can fall over well. So,
there you can.
We
didn't really talk about video games. Was there any video games that you've played set in the D&D world, or is that not up your street?
I'm one of very few D&D players who's never played Elder Scrolls.
Right.
I won't play it because I will get addicted and it will be the end of my life. So I refuse to play it.
God, no one let Gav do it.
The reason I love D&D is because I get lost in it. But I try that with like video games. I can't do it as much. I think it's that because it is digital. It's harder for me to sort of lose my mindscape with it.
I get you.
When it comes to gaming, I'm more of I love Pokemon to a ridiculous degree. And Minecraft, I just sort of switch off with a podcast and do a lot of farming. It's basically my way of unwinding without the actual manual labour.
Mm-hmm. That.
But then, like I said, I've got these friends who are like, one of them actually is a games coder. They know everything they need to know and just know exactly what to do. And they play Baldur's Gate. And I
was going to ask you about Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. They've told me I need to play it, and I've gone, I will do, but it's just, I haven't got the time to sit there and play them, to be honest with you. It's hard enough to find time to play D&D.
No, that's fair. So, what do you know about satanic panic, and do you have any sort of feelings one way or another about the whole satanic panic thing?
Is this by any chance the satanic panic where the religious people of the US were saying that there was satanic cults based around D&D?
Yep.
That is exactly the one.
It wasn't just a case of someone
Gotta
being
love the
happy over
80s.
Satan. Yeah.
It all stemmed from a guy that had been playing Dungeons and Dragons and then went missing for a few days, and everyone was saying, "Oh, it rots your brain, and it's all about Satanism and all
They
that."
banned
stuff.
it, didn't they, for quite a while?
Many
Some places
people
still have
did. Yeah. Go on.
I think a lot of it is obviously to do with a case of there was a fear of the unknown. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
There is talks of demons and devils and all that stuff in there, but that's because it took inspiration from religious connotations, I imagine.
The Bible has also got those things.
Yeah, exactly. But there's also deities and gods, so
like Chris Stone,
hand in hand with that. Like, well, he is the one true God. Is the sledgehammer. Yeah. So when it comes to the satanic panic bit, for me, I just sort of feel a bit sad for them people in that time because they weren't allowed to do what they loved because they got told it was Satanism.
Play your record backwards would summon demons and
kill
people.
It's just something that was extremely misunderstood, I think. Because a lot of it is just a bunch of like kids together having a laugh.
In many ways, it's removed the prior two generations before you. You know, they could have been handing things down to you, and obviously they haven't. They've lost that, so it's very, very sad. On a much more funny note, have you ever seen the 1982 film Mazes and Monsters? And do you know of it?
No.
No.
Right.
I need a list of these things, Steve, because I'm gonna have to fully indulge here.
Even if you just watch the trailer, it is one of the funniest, unintentionally funniest experiences I've ever had in my life watching this. So it's Tom Hanks's first film, and he plays a guy who is playing the game Mazes and Monsters, which is Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, and he gets so obsessed with the game that he loses his idea of self, and he loses touch on reality, and it leads to some of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Just ridiculous comedy. Him breaking down and crying over nothing. Like someone offers him a drink and he thinks it's a dragon, and it's like, oh, it is. Honestly, is worth a watch. 1982's Mazes and Monsters.
Please send me this trailer.
I will find the trailer afterwards and I will send it to you.
Thank you.
Right, let's do a game if you are so inclined.
Of course.
Excellent. We've talked about Tom Hanks. There's a lot of celebrities that enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to give you a celebrity. I want you to tell me if they are a D&D player. If not, I want you to tell me what you think their nerd thing is. Are we happy with that? Okay. First, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, if he has to play D&D, he's got biology.
Yeah, he's got to.
He's played a warlock in his time. I tell you right now, he's like an Eldergoth, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Eldergoth. Right, you're wrong, but he is obsessed with Superman.
He's obsessed with everything. The man knows.
He's obsessed with a lot of things.
Houses and stuff.
Have you seen his pre-made sort of burial chamber that he's got? Which is just like
he's got his own crypt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it is blinged out. So you need to go and Google
that is life goals. I do one of my own.
He's actually like his real surname's Coppola, isn't it? So
yeah, he's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
Yeah.
So, but this isn't about Nicolas Cage. But his son's called Kal-El. So yeah, deep dive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's won that one.
Lord of the Rings star Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's played D&D. I don't think he knows what a proper halfling is.
Eric is correct. Any idea what he may be into?
But Star Wars.
West Ham United.
What? He's a hammer.
You're so close. Animal Crossing.
What?
The video game Animal Crossing.
How is that close to West Ham or Star Wars?
Oh, it wasn't. I was being sarcastic. Tom Hanks is your next man, so we know he's been in a Dungeons and Dragons film. Is Tom Hanks obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons?
I think he's of the age where he could be. You know.
Nah.
I think he's got it.
Massively obsessed with typewriters, but not Dungeons and Dragons.
Did you say typewriters?
I sure did. People gift him typewriters. Loves it.
That's an expensive hobby.
Shaggy and Scream actor Matthew Lillard.
Oh, definitely.
He's definitely. I don't know if you say he's obsessed with it, but I'd say he's definitely played it.
Great dungeon master.
Is the correct answer. Matthew Lillard loves him some D&D. My Chemical Romance's Gerard Way.
He's massively into comic books, obviously, because he wrote his own with Umbrella Academy.
Sure did.
Which is a phenomenal series. I've not read them because I'm not good at reading. But I've definitely watched the TV show, which started off amazing and then that went weird.
I stopped watching it after a few.
He's got some. I love the writing in it, though. I must say. I would say he definitely played D&D. I'm going to say I think he's obsessed with it.
You were right. He is massively obsessed with comic books, though. Henry Cavill, former Superman. Henry Cavill.
I know this.
I already know the answer.
Yeah, everyone does.
Go on.
Warhammer 40,000.
Warhammer 4,000 or 40,000 or whatever. How many zeros?
See, I've never played that because that's a money pit. However, I do know loads of people who have, including a fellow House of Stone member Clash, who loves that game, and I don't really understand it.
I'm one of the hundreds of House of Stone members.
I've been hooked on it since about the age of 9, and I've finally kicked the habit. So,
go on, Gav. If you could give a rough number, how much do you reckon you spent on that game?
Oh, well over 30 grand.
Yeah, I played Yu-Gi-Oh for many years as well. I've still got my cards downstairs that I keep getting told to get rid of, and I can't do it. It's like my childhood.
Got value though? Does Yu-Gi-Oh still have value?
No, because I sold all them ones. I kept them.
Right.
You have emotional value, Gav.
Hmm?
Emotional value.
Some of them I've had since I was about 5 years old that just sat there.
I mean, it's cost me so much money because I have sort of been into it, bought everything, gave it away, thought, I'm going to move on, discover, and then go back to it, spend it all again. I've probably done that about 4 times. It's like a
toxic relationship. It drags you back in.
Yep.
Have you? Did you do all the painting of the miniatures and that as well?
That's what my main part of the hobby was, and that's why it got expensive. I've got
a lot of people say that.
My paint collection is probably worth about 600 quid.
See, I couldn't do it. I've got nowhere near the hand dexterity or the patience.
Yeah, that's my sort of thing, is painting figures and stuff as my main hobby more than playing it. So,
fair enough.
My hand dexterity is phenomenal, but for different reasons. Robin Williams.
No.
Yeah, he's D&D.
I think he's Warhammer as well. I'm sure he was Warhammer.
He very well may be Warhammer, but Erik Nite is correct with D&D.
There's anyone who gives off bad energy, it is 100%.
Yeah,
Robin
definitely.
Williams.
Also really into Zelda, and he named his daughter Zelda. Iron Man and Elf director, Jon Favreau.
Huh. I'm going to say he's not D&D, but nerd related. I'm screaming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't know why.
Well, because you watched our recent episode, go and check that out in the archive now. No, he is a D&D fanatic, so wrong.
Really?
Timothy Chalamet.
I think he's a Trekkie.
Very interesting. Gav?
Yeah, go on. I think he is.
No, he's a massive gamer, though, and customizes Xbox controllers in his spare time.
That's sick.
It is
That's
sick.
fair.
Olympian Tom Daly.
No, but he's big into knitting.
Big into knitting. That is absolutely correct. Weird that you know that.
He did a TV show on it.
Oh, did he? Oh, fair enough. Not that weird then. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, D&D.
Yeah.
D&D. Former Wayne's World actor, not serial killer, Mike Myers.
No, I don't think he will have been.
Yeah, I think
Eric?
for some reason in my head that's what inspired Shrek.
Very true. That is correct. He wasn't the first actor to play Shrek, by the way. It was originally going to be Chris Farley. But yes, that was part and parcel as to why he took it on. Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah. I'm going to say...
Yeah, a kid. So, yeah, I think it's a theatre thing.
Absolutely correct.
It
Didn't
very
learn it
much is.
until later in her life. Rage Against the Machine guitarist Tom Morello.
No. I don't think he's a D&D nerd. I do think he's a nerd.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
You're both massively wrong. He is indeed a D&D nerd. Jason Momoa.
No, I don't think he is.
Eric says yes. Gavin says no. The answer is no. He's massively into cameras. So, yeah, picture that. Post Malone.
Oh, he's definitely got stoned and played D&D. There's not a single...
Has, but he's Magic the Gathering, isn't he?
He is indeed Magic the Gathering.
Right, I'm going to be competitive here, right? Both made by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah,
Magic the Gathering is based off D&D. It's basically D&D for people who can't be bothered committing. I also don't like Magic the Gathering. So.
Yeah, because doesn't Post Malone got the £1 million ring for all card as well?
Guys, I couldn't care less. Let's move on to the final one. Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
Yes. Loves it.
Yes, he does. And he was the person that taught Dame Judi Dench on the Chronicles of Riddick film. So there you go. Right. Well, I think that's come nicely to the end of the show. Erik Nite, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun. Where can we find you on social media?
The main place to find me is on Instagram at the @_bear_PW. Pretty sure. Let me double check that now because I'm saying that with too much confidence.
So much confidence.
Yeah, can you tell I'm really good at social media? I definitely don't have my social media friends. You get very mad at me. Yeah, _bear_PW. And there's also the _house_of_stone.pw to find us all there, where we all put our promos and things like that. Would you be okay if I plugged a certain show that I'm going to be on in August?
Absolutely.
So there is a show that we are doing in my lovely hometown of Chorley on behalf of the Mind charity and working with them to try and raise as much money as possible, called Mind Over Muscle, because mental health is massively important to everyone involved, including myself. Please feel free to come down. Tickets are still available. We've got some amazing matches coming up. Myself will be performing with the House of Stone against the Pac-Man so far, and 2 other people in a Survivor Series tag match where they're definitely going to lose because we're a lot bigger than them and we're, above the age of 18. Ha, 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 ha. You've also got Dylan Dyer's Open Challenge, which should be a phenomenal one. The man of the match, the legend himself, Reynaldo, will be facing Chris the Metal Manson, and Biber versus tier of heart of the the matches that have so far been announced, I believe. Sorry, there is one more, which is Davey Getsky, other House of Stone member. There's only one left to reveal now. And versus Jack Barron. They're the ones that I believe have been announced off the top of my head. I could be very wrong, and if I am, please, other people who are helping out on the show, don't get mad at me because I am terrible with memory. Please come down and show your support. And if you can't make it on the day, we do have a GoFundMe page to raise awareness
as well.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me plug that. I wanted to make sure I got that in for the end of it. Essentially,
oh, my pleasure. I have donated. Yeah. Please make sure you do too.
DJ versus JD versus Isaac North.
That's the one. Yeah, I knew I was forgetting it.
Yeah.
How could I forget about that one? I love that one.
Thank you, disembodied voice of Lauren.
You know when it was right. It was proper bothering me that. Remember that last one?
Well, we know how Erik Nite rolls. If you want to tell us how you roll, please get in contact with Primetime Pastimes via Talk the Line if you are in the wrestling space and want to talk about your passion outside of wrestling. Otherwise, have a great day, have a great morning, have a great evening, depending on when you are listening to this. Bye.
Bye.